podcast where we remember every empire, every revolution, and every discovery and extraordinary moment in our shared past begins with one simple thing: a story.
I'm Ted Marshall Clark, and today we are leaving battlefields, royal courts, and ancient civilizations behind for something a little more colourful, a little more musical, and perhaps a little more controversial.
It has been going on for 70 years, and as many people across the entirety of Europe and some Americans, they have been watching the Eurovision Song Contest. Very famous, mainly in a good way.
And so pour yourself a cup of tea, settle into your favourite chair, and join us as we travel from the aftermath of the Second World War to a stage that would unite millions across Europe and beyond. This is History is a Story.
In the year of 1956, the Eurovision Song Contest had officially been on air. So the UK didn't enter until the year after, so unfortunately we wouldn't be hearing much of it. But it was hosted in Switzerland, and surprisingly, what a coincidence, they had won. So yeah, they didn't reveal any other places than first, but they had 2 entries each, and not many of them were actually recorded, so we only really saw Switzerland's one. Anyway, we fast forward to 1957, which was when the UK had its first entry.
In 1963 was the voting scandal when Norway's vote changed, and for the second time it gave Denmark a win. This was to the Swiss expense, who were 2 points behind. They came in second place.
So this was a not very commonly known scandal, but it did happen, and Norway were actually not doing them in the correct order, because all the countries had a set number, and you'd have to say that number, then the country, and the amount of points you were rewarding them. This was all before 12 points were actually invented. So when they came back to Norway in the end, the votes had been altered, so that gave Denmark the win. So the Swiss people actually thought they should have won, but we can never actually tell.
In 1964, we have the Italy's win, and it was the youngest winner until 1986.
She was only 16 when she won with I'm Not Old Enough. And yeah, it was a very, very good song. What else can I say? Anyway, in 1968, many people remember this song. Congratulations and celebrations. I want the world to know I'm happy as can be. Well, he wasn't happy as can be after the Eurovision Song Contest ended that year, as unexpectedly, Maciel's La La La, which was actually written by another singer, but they had to change because it was originally written in Catalan instead of the native Spanish language. So the UK were expecting their win. They were getting, points left, right, centre, everywhere, all over. But then Maciel and her country overtook by 1 point, and that gave them the win. And as Cliff Richard had said in his interview on BBC iPlayer, he went up to her and shook her warmly by the throat. Anyway, in 1969, most commonly remembered probably, the 4-way tie.
So the ties between the UK, France, the Netherlands, and Spain. They each had 18 points. This was, of course, before 12 points, and there was no runner-up this year.
So then, in 1972 and 1973, Luxembourg had their double win. So Luxembourg had won twice, in 1972 with Après Toi by Vicky Leandros, and in 1973 with Tout est racontoire by Anne-Marie David.
In 1973, we have the country of Israel enter. And here is where the controversy begins.
Yay. However, in 1974, the most amazing, iconic, fantastic band had won, and it was also the first win for Sweden. Waterloo, couldn't escape if I wanted to. Yes, so ABBA won with Waterloo. And Italy came second, the Netherlands came third, and the best bit, Napoleon made a special rare guest appearance as the composer.
In 1980, Morocco entered for the first and the last time. Johnny Logan's first win before 1987, and it was the first double winner.
So, in 1986, this is where it all gets mad. Sandra Kim had one with her song that said like "I love life," the meaning. But the song lyrics stated she was only 15 years old, which is under the legal Eurovision age to enter, which was 16. Even though she was 13 years old whilst winning for Belgium, which I just think is mad.
In the 1990s, Ireland win not once, not twice, not thrice, but
4 times.
4 times.
Yeah, there you go.
1993, 1994, 1995, and 1997.
So in 1990, Italy had won. 1991, Sweden. 1992, that was actually their win. 1993, that was their win. 1994, that was the win. And 1997, that was their win. I'm so sorry, Ted, I had made a typo in that. Anyway, most wins surprisingly were hosted in Ireland, because if there's a double win or you can't go to the country as it's unsafe, usually it would be hosted in a different country. And by different country, I mean the UK. Anyway, across the 90s and the early noughties, which are the early 2000s, ex-Yugoslavia and the ex-Soviet Union were starting to re-enter after they all broke up.
Ukraine never not qualified from semis,
which are the semi-finals. So this was after their first entry in 2003, where they go on to win a year later with Wild Dances in 2004.
In 2012, Turkey drops out of the contest.
And in 2015, not only do I think the win was amazing, Heroes, Australia entered, which didn't make much sense to the world.
They're on the other side of it.
Yeah, actually, but things happen, and you know, sometimes you got to put up with it. But in 2023, Sweden got their 7th win. Now, this was a huge moment because they were seen, big country, had the most views, most wins. They were glorious. They were rolling in wins. Ireland got their 7th win from 1997, and yet they never flexed or glazed or did any of that stuff that Ted doesn't know what it means. Anyway, 2024.
Luxembourg returned to the Eurovision Song Contest after 31 years.
So they took their gap from 1993, and yeah, that was just... I'd love to say sad time, but, you know, we had pretty good winners from then. So, yeah, anyway, we'll go up until this year, the latest, 2026.
Bulgaria win for the first time with the song Bangaranga.
Bangaranga, 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 bangaranga. So yeah, that is pretty much Eurovision summed up for you. However, it does have some amazing songs that you probably will have heard but never knew they were from Eurovision. This includes Arcade by Duncan Lawrence, 2019 Netherlands winner. Pretty good song, but could be better. I'd love to say. So don't hate on this channel, guys, because, you know, we're trying to attract younger audiences. So, yeah.
And that is where I will leave it for this episode.
Yeah.
Now, it's a big thank you to Will for coming on to today's episode.
Thank you.
And I will see you next time with another episode. Good night.
History is a story.
Good night.
Or morning or thing or afternoon. Well, you know, whenever you're watching this. Bye!